Hey guys, it's Jenna. Welcome back to my channel today. In today's video, we're going to be doing a very quick and thorough review on the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz eyeshadow palette. This actually just launched at Sephora and Sephora Canada, and this is such a beautiful palette. I'm wearing it on my eyes today. It has actually surprised me. So we're going to be talking about what I think about this palette, if it's worth the money, as well as we're going to be comparing it to Nude and Mercury Retrograde, which I did hear a lot of you guys thought that this palette might resemble these two. So let's get right on into it with the packaging and the details on that. So the packaging of this is super beautiful. It is a cardboard packaging to start with. It has like a very light kind of quartz look to the packaging, but it almost is too light because it sort of looked like the outer packaging was dirty to me or that it was cracked, but it's actually the design like on the actual package. So not to worry about that. At first I was like, what happened to my palette? I was worried it was broken inside, but it's just the really faint design of the quartz. This palette shines super beautiful, almost like slightly opal in the light. This looks so beautiful. It's definitely a design that is up my alley. I love all of these tones on the outer packaging. Like the packaging is identical between the two of them. So if you're familiar with that, you can expect that the rose quartz is exactly the same. Now, just like Mercury Retrograde, this rose quartz palette as well does have the same amount of shades on the inside. So when you actually take a look at the palette on the inside, now at first I was kind of like, I don't know if this is something that I would actually use a lot or something that I would like. The promotional pictures to me were kind of just boring, I'll be honest. I was like, I don't know. But then when I saw this in person, I was like, holy Dinah. So this is definitely different. I can see where people are saying that it's resembling Nude or Mercury Retrograde, but I'm going to show you later on in the video that they're actually quite different, and especially in the types of formulas between the two of them. So this is one that has a lot of really beautiful mosaic-y kind of colors that when you actually like swatch them or put your brush into it and swirl them together, it gives you this really beautiful kind of customizable shade that will be slightly unique in each palette. And of course, we have this bad boy, which I thought when I saw it, first of all, I was like, this looks like bacteria in a petri dish to me. From the promotional pictures, I was like, yikes, this is kind of grossing me out. And this is actually exemplified in the highlight too, but the highlight is not available at Sephora yet, so I'll keep my eyes on that one. But this shade, when you actually look at it zoomed in, more so reminds me of Nerds. I don't know if that's just a Canadian candy, but I'll put a little picture of what Nerds look like, but it's kind of like these really small, like rock-like chewable candy, and that's sort of what it more so reminds me of. It's like Nerds suspended in like gelatin or something. That's kind of the impression that I get with this shade now, seeing it in person. In this palette, there are 18 shades, and we do have really beautiful, neutral, everyday friendly colors in here, but we also have really nice foiled metallics, and we have beautiful shimmers. We have slightly textured shimmers. We have, of course, that really interesting, like, nerd candy / petri dish looking thing, but it's very interesting. The actual shade of that itself is kind of like a very light, glossy shimmer top coat. I'll show you a swatch here, of course. It's actually quite fine, so it's a really nice topper. I do worry, though, that when I do test it, that it's going to be sticky and not stick down fully or set fully because it is quite tacky when I pulled it up with my fingertip. But this palette is actually 67 American dollars, 88 Canadian dollars. It is available at Huda Beauty as well as Sephora US and Sephora Canada. Now, on the back of this palette, Huda actually describes some of the formulations that this is supposed to have. 18 shades in 5 innovative and precious textures. Her inspiration is rosy tints and earthy tones. So because this is called rose quartz, it is a type of rock. There are 8 velvety soft intense mattes, 3 high shine buttery metallics, 3 pearly soft shine metallics, 3 quartz inspired cream marbles, and 1 crushed stone pearly gloss hybrid. So the pearly gloss shade is this one right here, where she's talking about like the Nerds candy shade. So that's what we're talking about here, but I can absolutely tell when she's talking about the high intense metallics. You guys, when I was swatching this, there's one that's like liquid tin to me. It's so cool. It's like, I can't wait to put it in my look. I'll show you how I incorporate it. It's very slight in today's look, but it's this shade right here. I think it deserves its own swatch because, oh, it's buttery soft too. and it just looks divine. I'll show you. This is like a standout shade to me. So can you guys see the pigment and how it shines there? It almost is like a silvery bit of a purpley gray undertone. Really, really nice. But this is sort of like the pigmentation I'm used to in something like a Natasha Denona or Pat McGrath, right? It's just very, very intense, very beautifully buttery metallic. The three Quartz like creamy marble shimmer shades are very easy to pick up in this pan. Of course you can see them. They're like the gradient, really beautiful, like marbly looking shades. So we got 1, 2 is here, 3. So there's 2 on the top row and 1 on the bottom row. But you can tell like they're very, very distinct. But when it comes to this palette, what I created for today is really cool. It's kind of like unicorny, very duochrome, very nice, like heavier liner than I'm typically used to with a little bit of a dramatic lash. So first of all, I just did like a concealer to prep my lid today. I just used the Pat McGrath, and then I went in with the shade Cherished. Cherished is really pale, a baby pink. It actually is more pale than I'm used to, but I wanted this look to be quite like cotton candy and unicorny and just very bright and purpley blue kind of elegance. So I wanted to start off with this shade. I actually found I put about 3 layers down before I got the pigmentation that I wanted. So it is more medium opacity, buildable, blended really beautifully and layered beautifully, which is key because I do feel like with her mattes, you do need some layering going on. With one coat, it's just not enough to get that full opacity. And with a shade like this, I wanted that brightness from this shade to be evident on the lid for the founding layer of this look. The next shade I picked up is Moon Magic. It's right here. I actually used a fingertip for this one. This one has a little bit of a texture to it, sort of a little bit flaky, and this is one that packs such a beautiful duochromy, like very shimmery, bright presence on the lid. This, I think, is one of the single shadows that could carry a look. You don't even have to, you know, continue with building colors with this because it's one of those shades you could just wear on your own with just the first shade and be done, or you could continue to go and add a little bit more color and dynamic to the look. But this is one that, because of how much it shifts and how beautifully pigmented it is, expect a bit of fallout because of the flakiness there, but it is one that can carry a look by itself and have so much to look at already. You don't even need anything else if you want. But I wanted to do a little bit of some smoky drama to the outer corner, so I actually went in with the shade Serenity. It's actually a nice buttery soft matte as well, but it's more of like a mauvey purple. This is one that also just beautifully applied to the outer edge there. I actually just used a small brush with this. It picked it up so well, and I just felt that this was a very cohesive look right here. You can keep it right here if you want. You don't have to add anything else, but you can see just how complete this look already is. With just these 3 shades, you can do a beautifully stunning look. You can see that there's like quite a few different looks to do. I mean, you don't have to incorporate so many shades. There's such an interesting distinction between them with texture, with finish. It's just so beautiful. So this is definitely very surprising right off the hop. My first impressions are super strong already. Wanted to add a little bit more shine, so I went in with one of her Quartz like marble shades, and this is also one with a fingertip. This one is Cosmic Love. This is also one that I just kind of put in between the first shimmer and the smoke shade with a fingertip. I do find with these kind of softer metallics, I do think that a fingertip is pretty necessary, I'll be honest. Unless you're wanting more to spray a brush with something like this, but they are really impactful with a finger application. Otherwise, a fluffier brush or something, like good luck, these are gonna flake right off because they are quite lightweight. So application is very key with these. This is a shade that I added just a touch, but this is also a shade that can carry an entire look. Wanted to incorporate my favorite shade, which we talked about, which is Energized, that beautiful like liquid tin purpley silver color. And this is not really a look that I could do that with easily. Like, let's be real, because it is so beautifully vibrant purpley blue. But I did add a touch, very small amount to this look just so I could see how it performed because I was so impressed with how it swatched. I was like, please let this be one that will also perform really well. And sure enough, it does. So today's look, I tried 5 shades out of 18. And if you are a big fan of the Mercury Retrograde or the other one, Nude, I think you'll really like this one. I do. But let's talk about how similar they are to the other palettes. Now looking at these pictures side by side, you can sort of see what I mean. Mercury Retrograde has these pressed metallic, flakier shimmers, if you will, and then there's also some softer shimmers in here, plus we've got her mattes. So we do have quite a bit of distinction between the two palettes because Mercury Retrograde has those beautiful greeny blues, and overall this is more of a colorful palette versus Rose Quartz has a very distinct theme with the stone kind of elements. She gets very close with some of those rosy tones that she does between the palettes, but if you have Mercury Retrograde and you have some interest, there's not going to be a ton of overlap here. You certainly can't do a Rose Quartz look with Mercury that easily. You could do something similar probably, but not to the point where it'd be like a dupeable look. Next, I want to talk about Nude, which is also the palette that I get so many questions on. So Nude is very distinct in that they have different types of shimmers as well in this palette that are not like the Rose Quartz. So Rose Quartz to me, like you can see those shimmers in Rose Quartz actually has a quartz looking pattern to them. In Nude, it's almost like crystals. Flashy kind of traditional shimmers in the Nude palette, but I would say Nude is more so richer in the berry department. We do have some similar purples in here, but no exact duplicates again. The Nude is one where you can actually do like everyday friendly, more low-key looks. You can achieve that with the Rose Quartz, but it's going to be brighter, more on the purpley side of things. If you have any of these two palettes, I do think that if you're a Huda fan, you will enjoy this one here, the Rose Quartz. If you are after like one of the three, it's going to depend on which color story works best for you and your kind of taste and preferences. But when it comes to quality, they're all up there as some of her best palettes I've ever worked with. I would say her smaller palettes can be a little hit or miss for me, but these ones tend to be the best quality, at least in my experience. And this Rose Quartz one is definitely one that I'm really enjoying so far. So let me know your thoughts. Hopefully this review was helpful for you. And until my next one, guys, take care and stay safe. Bye, guys.